This is a video where I review my Anet N4 resin printer, which I have now for 3 days, 4 days, something like that. I don't usually do product reviews, I'm not really into that stuff, but this time I decided to do this because I have a bad experience with this printer and something that I didn't really expect. First of all, I've decided to purchase an Anet because I have two other ones. They're heavily modified. I've put a steel frame on them, but they started out as A6 kits, and I was really happy with it and what they can deliver. That's why I've decided to buy an Anet resin printer, again an N4, and you can see that I've managed to print some things with it. I've printed this piece, which came out quite nice and very detailed, and also this one, which is a ring. And again, the detailing and the quality of the print, I really don't have any complaints about. There is one thing though with this machine, and that is I need to stick the USB flash drive in it maybe 20 or 30 times and like wiggle with it a little bit at the back until the machine actually would pick it up. But that could be just some kind of manufacturing issue, and it doesn't really have anything to do with this video. Just to be clear here, I have the latest version. I already also made sure to upgrade it. Let's just zoom here. Version 1.65, and I've downloaded the latest AI print software with the firmware upgrade, and I followed it and I upgraded it on the printer itself, and I was hoping that will maybe resolve the issue with the USB stick, but I think it's just something that has gone bad in the manufacturing. But that's not the issue. The issue really is the software that Anet provides you with this printer. It's called AI Print, and it's pretty much useless. Okay, it's the worst piece of software I've ever had the pleasure and displeasure of using. It's as if like some junior programmer or the cheapest 16-year-old kid that knows how to write a bit of source code created it, and it's not, I wouldn't even call it like a pre-alpha. I'm really annoyed with it. The thing is though that the Anet printer, you can't use it with any other generic slicing software. Anet has produced some kind of like proprietary file format, so you're stuck with their software, and when the software doesn't work, then you can't work with the printer. So just to demonstrate to you, I have here two computers. This is an i5 5th generation, and it has 16 gigs of RAM, and right there is my other i5, which is I think a 3rd generation, and it has a 4 gigs of RAM, but I can't use the Anet software on my stronger laptop. Some compatibility issue with the graphics card, but the software installs and everything, but you don't get to see the 3D space, and when you load files into it, nothing really works. To start with, I would say, first of all, we're going to do a benchmark, because my main issue is with the way that the software, first of all, handles, and second of all, the huge amount of time that it takes the software to actually generate the file that you can put on the printer. And to demonstrate this, and this video really is not about, it's not to diss Anet. I'm sure that they have good quality things and they believe in their company and whatever, but to ship a printer like this, an N4 resin printer with a software that you can't replace when the software is just unusable, I think really that's just cheating people out of their money. So just to get the benchmark here, I have downloaded a program called Cheeto and it's some generic slicer, free, which I think you can use it within any Cubic and any of the other printers that are on the market. And I'm going to use this software just to demonstrate to you how much time it takes with this software to create a file. And then we're going to have a look how much time it takes with the Anet software to create a file, which we're not going to really get because I already tried it like 10 times. So this is a file that I had previously loaded. I can clear it here and just reload it again. And I'm going to delete the old one like that. And we're going to take this one. Now, I first started with the Anet program. I think it's called AI. I'm not sure AI or AL. I really don't know. But I was trying to use the program to generate these supports. And the Anet software just does a horrible job generating automatic supports, especially for people like me who are just a few days busy with resin printing, and support is a very important issue I've come to learn. So I would like, as a starter, to have some program that generates it automatically and gets most of it in the right place, and then maybe I just need to tweak it a little bit. The Anet software is far, far away from there. It's like, fuck you, and just do whatever you want, and here's a printer, and here's a bunch of buttons with a UI, and figure it out. So I've generated this file, and then I exported it from this software as a ready STL. Hopefully that I could use the Anet software to slice it, but that doesn't happen. Sorry. So this file is pretty much ready. You can see it has all these supports. We have these little red ones here, which they just they are marked because they don't show. Sorry, they come out of the build plate. I've put the build plate settings just like the Anet, so resolution doesn't really matter. Size 68.04. 121 and 135. The Anet can actually, I think, take 138, but again, doesn't really matter. It's just to do the slicing process. So everything is ready, everything is finished. It's going to slice it, and it's going to leave a portion of these red pieces here out of the slice. We don't care. So let's just click on slice. You can see here we have a bar that says slicing, and it's slowly starting to work, and you will come to appreciate this bar. I also have here this task manager so that we can see that actually things are happening. With the Cheeto software, I don't really need a task manager, but with the Anet software, if you don't have the task manager there, just to give you some basic indication that the program is actually doing something, then you will just think that the computer is stuck. That's it. And about, I would say, 5 times out of 10 maybe, so half of the times that I would slice a file with the Anet software, the program would just get stuck. And the other 5 times where eventually I actually got a file from it, the program was stuck, but it was doing things in the background. So it's like it's like the program. You can see here that the Cheeto it's like responsive, and you can like click here, and you can go and you can cancel it, and you can go here and you can see tooltip. Everything is responsive, I think. Yeah, because it has a multi-threading there. It works on several threads when it do the calculation. The Anet software just gets stuck once you click slice, and from there on you just need to wait very, very patiently and hope that something eventually comes out, and if not, then it's the old Control-Alt-Delete and manually closing the task. So we are more than halfway through the slicing. And you can see it has about 30% CPU, 60% memory, doing its own thing there. Still, UI very responsive. Everything is working nice. And after it's going to do the slicing, we're going to need to write the file, so that's going to take also some time. All in all, I've measured this process with a reasonably large file, I would call it, like this. It's a high resolution STL. It would take about 15 minutes for the whole process. So including generating automatic supports, slicing, writing the file, you would be roughly around the 15 to 20 minutes with my i5 and 4 gigs of RAM that I have here on the desktop. With the Anet software, it's embarrassing. It's honestly, I'm really disappointed. Once again, the print quality looks very promising. The printer itself, I like the design, I like everything about it. That's also one reason why I purchased it. I have a good experience with Anet's FDM printers, but the software, it's horrible. You would just be sitting and cursing the computer and wishing that you have never ever bought it. So the slicing is done. Let's you can just see here the slices when I move them. So I'm going to click on save, and you can see here that I can save in different formats. Let's just put it like that. So we have here, we have like Photon and for an Anycubic and I don't know, all kinds of formats here which probably fit different printers. I'm just going to take the one that says Photons on it, or maybe this one. I don't know if it's for an Anycubic, but we're going to click on save, and now you can see it says here writing file. So it's going to start writing. And what I've learned in between, because it's going to take a few moments, in between what I learned is that there is a difference between FDM slicers and the resin slicers, and that is the FDM would generate like a raw G-code file that you can then just open and modify in text, and it's just a set of instructions, machine instructions. And with these resin printers, it would still generate some G-code file, but it will then compress it or encrypt it or change the format so that everything becomes like a binary file. And you can't do anything with it, you can't modify, you can't change it, you can't do anything with it, which I find, I don't know, maybe it's needed. I'm not really an expert in it, but I would say if the G-code could just remain as it is, then I guess it would be handy on some level. Maybe it's also that companies don't want that people are going to fiddle with the code and then get different results. Yeah, we're almost 1/3 through the writing of the file, and we are now 13 minutes into this video, and it's about 10 minutes that we are busy with the program here and me talking along the way. And feel free, this video is really just heading towards Anet, just so that they can see the amount of frustration that this second, or not even second, it's like the lowest grade of software that you can provide a user with. Like, if I was a dumb user, then I wouldn't even be getting to that 3 prints that I've made. But since I'm like a guy that fiddles with things and does have some knowledge, and I can manage my way around problems, I did eventually manage to get something printed. If you're really looking to work efficiently with a printer and just like churn out things, don't go for this one, really. Again, quality wise, I'm not complaining. The software that is provided with it and what renders you stuck with the software, because you can't use any other software with the Anet printer, just makes the printer useless. And next week, there are holidays here, but next week I'm going to contact the supplier of this printer here in the Netherlands, and I'm going to kindly ask him if he will replace it for me, not only because of the USB stick problem, but also, again, since I'm stuck with the software and I can't do anything about it. So yeah, that is frustrating, and that's why I'm making this video. Hopefully Anet will watch it and learn something from it, or release some update, or make their file formats like open, so that we can at least use something like this, like Chi2Box, and create files for this printer that we've purchased, and we're not stuck with your software. And yeah, software development, I guess it's a whole entire field, and if you don't know what you're doing, or you're just looking to shove people with manure, then I would say that Anet is on the good direction there. And anyway, again, my frustration: don't buy an Anet printer. Not at least not until Anet releases a proper piece of software, or just decides to make their format open, so that we can use generic third-party softwares, like with their FDM printers. I use Cura for it, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy with the quality versus price that I got from their FDM printer. So we can see here everything is working nice. Oh, there we go. Write is successful, and yeah, like I said, with supports and everything, it would take about 15 to 20 minutes to generate a file. I will close the Chi2Box now, and just yeah, I'm not sure. Let's have a look at the file itself. Oh, I think I have it here. So this is the file that was generated. You can see right there, it has a photon, and the files that the software of Anet generate would have an N4 extension. It's 110 megabytes large, and yeah, I tried to change the extension here to like N4 and load it to the machine, but it doesn't take it. The machine basically, it shows you the file, and once you click on it, the machine just resets, and that's it. So now that we've done that, let's open the software from Anet. The most ridiculous software you've ever seen. There's like not even an about button here. Like, you want to know which version am I using? Nothing. There's like no information, nothing about it. So let's load the same file. I will not go too much. This program has like many quirks and issues that I would really like to share with you, but this really goes about just getting something printed. I'm gonna load the same file, open, and you see it loads it. So on this computer, this entire 3D space, it's just black. So I think there is some issue with the compatibility with the graphics card. Thankfully, it works on this computer, so it's all good. So we can see it loaded it, and we have these two red markers here, just like in the Chi2Box, and that's because these, you can see here that these little supports, they're not gonna be sliced, but there is enough room here between the nose, and we can just zoom in a little bit just to be clear about it. There we go. So we have this clearance here, and we also have it on the other side. So the model itself does fit, and that's all we care about. You can see here. Good. So now that's said, everything is ready here. I'm going to put this down and we're going to see here on the task manager. We have about 5% on the CPU and about 38% on the memory. And now I'm going to go here. There are options here for supports, by the way, but I'm not going to show you because the supports that this program makes are horrible. It's like it generates half supports, things that you don't even understand how it works. But in any case, everything is ready. We're going to go just to the parameters here, review them. I have 40 microns, so that's 0.04 millimeter layer height. I put 15 seconds exposure on each layer. The default is 8. And Anet's own examples are also 8, but I've learned that 8 makes the model a bit weak. And when it comes to big pieces like that, they will just tear off. Then I have 90 seconds. This is the default setting for the bottom layer exposure time, 5 layers, 4 millimeters uplift speed per second, which is, let's just, for 240 millimeters per minute, which is quite high. I noticed in the Cheeto box that it goes about 65 millimeters per minute, not sure about it, but I just left all these default settings, and it printed these 3 models that I showed you, so we're just going to leave it like that. And now I am going to click on slice, and you can see that we have this window now, and I'm going to put it like that. So something is happening in the background. We can already see not responding. It's because, once again, it's like it appears that everything is just running on a single thread. So the whole UI freezes, everything freezes. It's like if you go here, you see nothing is highlighted. You can't, if I'm going to click here now, then it's all going to get stuck, and we don't want that. So the only indication that we have, this bar also, these bars, they don't move, they don't do anything. Only with like really small models, then the bar would move and would like give you some indication that things are happening. But with big models like this, nothing happens. There we go. So now it has changed the box again. So it was I don't know what it was before, but now it's preparing. And on this one, it's going to get stuck like that. And yeah, I'm just going to leave the camera here. So we noticed with the Cheeto box, it took about 15 minutes in total to generate the file. And now I'm going to leave the camera here so that you can see the activities that are happening here. The program is doing something in the background. I don't know what it's calculating, probably, but the UI is stuck, and you will only, if it would manage to get a file properly done, then it will just skip from this one to another window, which it would take even longer to calculate, and eventually you would just get a message that a file was created. So I'm going to leave the camera here, and I'm going to prepare myself a coffee, and I'm going to come back so that you don't need to hear me talking this whole thing. We have a little clock here, so you can also follow the time. And yeah, enjoy this video while we're waiting for a sliced file. Anything happening? Nope, still preparing the file. Okay, well, at least I have a coffee and I can now watch. We can watch together, we can watch this this AI program not responding. I read, before I bought this N4 printer, I've read reviews. I went online, I watched YouTube videos of people showing the quality of the print. I have to say that most of the videos that I've seen were people who received the printer from Anet for review, so perhaps the review was biased, but yeah, from my experience working 3 days with this printer, again, the printer, I'm really happy with it. I'm happy with the quality. I'm happy with the design of the printer. Again, that issue with the USB, that could be just a manufacturing issue. Sometimes these things happen, and it's not always under Anet's control. But the software just renders this printer useless. Again, the software, you can't work with it. It will never give you satisfying results. There are options here where you really, like I said, it looks like a program in some sort of a pre-alpha state where only the person that has made the program perhaps can get the actual results from all the functions that this program offers. But some guy like me, or even worse, somebody that just bought the printer to print models and is not fiddling with things and is not a handy person, he wouldn't get a single print out of this program. I've went to a few YouTube videos from Anet themselves, and I've noticed there some guy complaining that the software is again garbage. I agree with him. Anet refers its customers to the latest download, which is from March, so it's about 2 months ago that they released the firmware upgrade 1.09 and the software 1.065. Not really. Once again, there is no about button in this program, so you can't really know which version you're using. But yeah, I've downloaded it and I've installed it, and I did the software, the firmware upgrade on the printer itself, whatever that should have cured in the printer, but nothing, no positive results. So yeah, now we're sitting, and since it took us about 15 minutes with the Cheeto box, I would say that I would need to give this video at least another good 20 minutes of sitting and looking at the screen. This video is eventually a result of numerous times that I already tried it. I've just clicked on the slice, I went to do shopping, I cleaned the house, and I would come back and it would still be on this exact same screen. And let's just take this again. I can show you that nothing, the UI is unresponsive, and it's pretty much saying not responding. Now, to be clear on this, it would say all the time not responding. Like I said at the beginning, you can see here that something is happening, calculations I assume, but the only indication that you would have where you have an actual file is when that not responding screen would disappear, and then you would just get a box that says, okay, your file is ready and this is how it's called, and do you want to go to that folder, and then it would be done. But if you did something wrong in the file, if you want to correct something in it, once again, you're sitting there for I don't know how much time just to get another file done. And this is not the way that you can work with a program. really. I never ever received anything, like even with normal printers that I've purchased and some companies that not gonna say the name, but they churn up some user-friendly program that does half-ass work. Not in this case. This is like the worst that I've ever come across. And I used to be a programmer for 10 years. I've written these things. I know how they work. I know what you need to do in them. There are many options here where, like, if you would click on the support settings for generating automatic supports, every time that you change like one value, so let's say you go in increments of 0.01 millimeter and you need to reach a millimeter, every time you click on the button to change like 1 millimeter, it would automatically run the auto generate for supports. It would like refresh them. And that means that you pretty much can't change any settings. You can't. When you change a setting in the automatic supports, the program will just get stuck, and it will go into this internal loop of just adjusting 0.01 millimeter, regenerating the supports. Again, adjusting, regenerating. And if you need to go half a millimeter up or change the value by half a millimeter, then it would run through this 50 times. 50 times. There is like no safety like mechanism in the code that would say, okay, well, maybe he wants to change a few more values, so I'm going to wait with the auto refresh function. Things like that, you know, that are like really frustrating. These are the little things that basically make the program, again, useless. And the sad thing is that when the software itself is useless, then the printer is useless, because I can't slice. I really want to print this model and I just can't get it to slice. I can't get this freaking piece of garbage of a software to slice. I can't. I've tried it like 10 times. I think that tonight I'm just gonna leave it like the whole night, and then maybe if I wake up in the morning I will have like a surprise and like the file will be done. Maybe it will be something nice, but my plans are basically to call the supplier next week. I'm going to explain to him the problem. I'm going to show him this video and another video that I'm going to make about the problem with the USB stick, because that concerns me much more. And I'm just going to ask for a replacement. Because yeah, again, I bought a really nice looking printer, and so far seems like it can print some nice quality, but it's absolutely useless because of the useless software that it came with. And I would think that Anet would do something really smart if they just get rid of this, like, we want to have our own file format, and just go with the rest of the world and just create something that that we can use with generic software, like with the FDM printers, and using Cura or Prusa Slicer, or yeah, and then they just work. But in this case it doesn't. So still we can see here things are happening in the background, and it looks like something is churning around in the fine mechanisms of this piece of software. But will we get something out of it? I'm not sure. Well, I'm pretty sure because I tried it. I'm not sure if I tried it long enough. Maybe I need to wait half a day, maybe a whole day, maybe 2 days. But so far, leaving it for an entire hour hasn't produced anything. And we did the benchmark, and you saw that it takes, with a different program, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes, depends on how many functions and how many things you have there going on in the background. But again, I have here relatively old i5 which is about, I think, 7 years old, with 4 gigs of RAM, and with the Chi2Box software it does work, with the Anet software it doesn't. And now, while we're waiting, I can smoke a cigarette and just relax a little bit from this whole frustration. It is frustrating, really. Like, I mean, I've purchased these FDM printers from Anet, and just to show you, like I said, I made a lot of custom modifications. I chucked that stupid plastic frame, made a steel frame, replaced the bearings, replaced the motors, everything besides the board itself, which is still an original Anet. But it produces things like that. Really nice. Like, this is an FDM print. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. That's why I've decided to buy an Anet N4. And here in Holland I haven't seen a different model, but in the software you have an option of choosing an Anet N7, and then I searched for it and I was like, oh wow, okay, $1,500 for Anet N7, which has a larger print volume. And I was really tempted, like saying, okay, if this printer works good, then I'm gonna buy that bigger one. But nope. No. And if you're looking to buy one, then watch this video and you can understand my frustration, and hopefully you won't need to go through this whole ordeal like I did. Eventually, I know I will just need to stop this task manually. Or maybe I will be lucky. Maybe because I'm making this video now, all of a sudden the software will decide that it does want to work properly. I highly doubt it, but who knows. So right about now, with the others, with the other models that I made, about now it should like switch to a different small box with an indication bar that does other processes, and then you know, like, okay, I'm on the right way, but we're still stuck here, still stuck in preparing. The Chi2Box had it along, sliced and already saved, and yeah. Now some major things are happening. We can see like 70% on the CPU at some points. Lots of slicing, lots of calculating things in the background. But we did it benchmark, and we know that it should take no longer than 15 minutes with just a standard software. Standard piece of software. At least I have my coffee here to relax me. Maybe while we're waiting for this, we can have a look a little bit on the models that I did print. I really want to keep this printer, really, but you can't work with it. So while we're here in the background, let's let's just have a look at this ring here that I made. I need to work inverted with my... let's see, can we zoom on it? Can we zoom here? Yeah, there we go. So you see, it's a ring. It came out quite nice. Quite nice. This is the ring. Let's zoom back on the computer. There we go. There you can look at this little model that I made. Take this out of the way. There's a hazardous situation here with the coffee. Let's focus on this one. There you see. So the detail is quite nice. This came out of the Anet printer, but it took me so long to wait for this file to be done. I think I left the computer on like for 2 hours. Which sort of leads me to believe that if I leave the computer maybe the whole night, then eventually I will get a file out of it. But yeah, that's not really realistic, is it? Waiting a whole day for one slice. Still waiting. I'm gonna let this video run for exactly 60 minutes. Just to get everything out of the way, and that we're pretty positively sure that the program definitely doesn't slice in 15 minutes like we saw it with the Cheeto box software. And at 60 minutes I'm going to end it. Once again, don't treat this video as a review. I'm not reviewing the printer. I'm just really making this video so that Anet can perhaps learn from it and make sure that the next time they don't sell printers which have proprietary software and file systems, and when the software doesn't work right, it renders their product useless. I think it's really bad reputation for a company. So we're now 47 minutes into the video. I think that I've started the slicing. When did I click slice? At about 30 minutes. So we're now well 17 minutes into the process. And again, everything is stuck. The bar is not going, it's not moving. There is no any kind of indication. If I didn't have this open to see that something is happening with the computer, then I would just think that the program is stuck. And that's actually how I got my other sliced files, is just by leaving it like that, not responding, and hoping that that eventually something comes out. But yeah, waiting so long, and that's ridiculous. That's really ridiculous. My fingers are really itching, and I want to just, I want this machine to like work 24 hours. And until now it hasn't. And it's these sort of things that will eventually, if you're new to resin printing or printing of any kind, anything, and you're dependent on this piece of program, then you're just gonna get frustrated and you're gonna leave it. You're gonna throw the whole hobby on the side and just drop it. Luckily, I'm not a guy like that, and I like to solve problems. I don't complain about many things. There are many pieces of software that you need to kind of learn the quirks and behavior of it and work yourself around it. But you can see here with this, the only thing I wanted is that it slices it, and it doesn't. Really, it doesn't. And I'm thinking, this is a relatively small model, so this is the Anet N4, this is the smaller one, and the N7, it has a larger big plate, so that would also mean a larger model, and that would mean even more calculations and more slicing time. So I'm not sure what you're going to get for big models. Maybe Anet would watch this video and they can advise me of some different software that I can use. I would be really happy about it. But how it looks now, like I said, next week I'm going to contact the supplier and I'm going to introduce him to these videos and to my problems with the printer. And I would demand a replacement, because you can't work with this printer, not with this kind of software. Like I said earlier, I did try this a few times, and I left the program, I think, for about 2 hours. I went, I did some shopping, I came back, I prepared food, I had something to eat, I smoked a few cigarettes in between, I had a coffee in between, cleaned the house a little bit, every now and then coming back to the computer and looking at it, and it would still be not responding. There are also other issues with the program, but we don't even need to go in there, because the most basic task of it can't perform, so there's no reason to highlight all the other problems that it has. Like, for example, if you would click on the, like I said, on the auto supports window, if you open it once, then I would, just in case you have this printer, and you're looking to print something small, if you opened it once, then I would strongly advise that you close the whole program and then reopen it with the new settings, and then just go about it, and don't fiddle with anything, don't press on anything that you don't need to press. Just load your model, try to get the supports that you need in order to print it, just manually placing them down. That does work. But then immediately click slice, and then just hope for the best. Really, just pray in your heart that something good will come out of it. Every now and then I hear the computer churning a little bit, and I see the the hard drive light flashing, so I'm thinking like, oh, maybe it did something, but nope, it's just stuck there. And eventually when you close it down, you can also see that it creates a file with like an N4 extension at the end, but this file is just 0 bytes, so it hasn't written anything to it. Yeah, just a whole bunch of frustration. You are now looking at the video 60 minutes long of just a frustrated person who knows how to do quite some YouTube videos. If you already managed to bring yourself here, then you can check my other videos, and if you like my channel, then subscribe. It goes mostly about electronics and computing, things like that. 3D printing is something that I started about a year ago, and from there on, really I've been learning a lot about it. It's really interesting. And like I said a few days ago, I've started with resin printing. It's a whole different world than FDM. A world that I really want to like get going, but I'm stuck with this program. It's now about the time that the craziness come out. I have 4.5 more minutes until this video will be exactly 1 hour, and then I think that you got the point. And hopefully Anet is going to watch it, and they're gonna get the point, because that's like the most important part. But yeah, after 60 minutes, I'm gonna stop it, and that is it. Then next week, this printer is going back. And I'm thinking maybe I will take, since I've seen now that this Cheeto box, I quite like it, maybe I will go for a Photon, for an Anycubic printer. I honestly believe that all these printers, Anycubic and Creality and Anet, I wouldn't be surprised if they are all like manufactured in the same factory, and it's like just some OEM factory that makes these things with a different design. But since Anet has their own software for it, that leads me to believe that perhaps Anycubic Photon is a printer that is manufactured differently. But yeah. Still churning, not responding. Well, maximum size. Okay, well, apparently my mobile phone has now reached its maximum size, but it's okay. Maybe this video would be a few minutes shorter than 60 minutes, so that I don't need to combine the two videos together. I think that by now most of you watching this got the point. And yeah, if you ask me, don't buy an Anet N4, not because the printer, the quality is not good. You saw the quality, I'm quite happy with it, but again, the software just renders it unusable. The printer is unusable with the Anet software, and you're stuck with that software. You can't use any other software. We're at 59 minutes, 50 seconds to go, and at 60 minutes I'm going to stop this video. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video now, and I don't even know if you're going to see this part, but yeah, don't buy an Anet N4.